That is the theme. The monk as kingmaker. They did make kings. Now, therefore, from the earliest times, the Jain communities, the Jain communities were politically engaged, and this served as a means of their survival. Jains have not chosen to live in cultural ghettos or as marginalized minorities, but they have migrated to urban centers, to cities where the action is. They have become involved, and as a result, the influence of Jainism upon the life of India has always far exceeded its numbers. Now, getting into the modern period, the person who brought ahimsa into the consciousness of the world was, of course, Mahatma Gandhi. And I think I told all of you the story of when Mahatma Gandhi was once giving a lecture, and I was a little boy. I had provided the electrical input for the microphones which Mahatma Gandhi used in order to speak. And therefore, I have the distinction of being a person, even as a child, to have exercised power over the Mahatma, because at any time I could have pulled the wire and the Mahatma would have been silenced. But you see, the Mahatma Gandhi, he took this concept of non-injury and brought it into politics. He engaged this very powerful force which was sitting there in the temples. It was sitting there in the sutras. It was sitting there in the consciousness of the holy men and women and within their prayers. But it was not doing anything in terms of our connectedness. And our connectedness is something very important. This is what the Gita teaches us, and which we Jains should remember. In one word, it is what? Loka samgraha. Loka samgraha. Being involved, being engaged for the good of other people. So Mahatma Gandhi did that. And he did it by making ahimsa focal. Non-injury is religion. It is not an addendum to religion. It is not pious embroidery to religion, but it is the religion. Now, from Mahatma Gandhi, we cross over to the United States. And there, Martin Luther King studied Gandhi's non-violent strategy and made ahimsa the hallmark of the civil rights movement in America during the 60s. Though he was a Christian minister, he baptized this Gandhian movement into his own ministry. And by this act of linking ahimsa with protest and politics, Reverend Martin Luther King has forever linked Jain ideals with American freedom. So, Jainism is now even part of American history, American politics, central part of the American politics through ahimsa being baptized into a Christian Western form. Now, as we look upon all of these lessons of history, we can summarize them quite briefly, and with this I conclude. As we look back on the long history, in which I have tried to show through certain examples that Jainism is not a ghetto religion. It is very much an engaged religion. People only can communicate this stereotype if they don't know Jain history. But if you know the history, then you will know that this is a religion which engages people. So what are the lessons of history for Jains in America, for Jains in India? The lessons are, and I'll only mention them in point form. First, you must not privatize your faith, holding that such evils as racism or casteism or dowryism or whatever it is, that these are political matters, they have nothing to do with religion, and therefore you will not be spoiled by these things. You have privatized your religion. You can't do this kind of thing. Second, you must not be escapist by avoiding political responsibility, because living in such a connected way, both in India and in the globe, politics is not an option. We are all involved in it, whether we like it or not, and we have to make the most of it. That's what Jainism has taught us. They made the most of political situation as they were thrown at them. And this was because of the adaptive ability of the Jains. Fourth or third, you are not called upon to form a political party, but to become committed to work within the multi-party system of your country. So it's not that all Jains will now become this party. No. You work towards the multi-party system in your country. Next, you must not support particular candidates or parties because these come and go. But you must uphold principles by which all people are held accountable regardless of the party to which they belong. Next, you must be pro-life and pro-family. But it should stop short of being identified with specific lobbyists in the area of pro-family or pro-life. And finally, and with this I conclude, you must stand for democracy, not bureaucracy. You must stand for justice, not dependency, for participation and not for power, for substance and not for style or showmanship.